Hey everybody, it's Bryony here from Stitched Up, and today we're going to do a nice, quick and easy rework on this classic men's shirt. So this shirt I've had hanging around for quite a while, but I'm not really getting that much wear out of it, and I think it's because it doesn't go so well with some of my high-waisted trousers. So what I'm going to do is remove the collar, so I've got more of a grandad stand collar, take some of the length off, and I'm going to make it cropped but shorter at the front than it is at the back, so it'll have a bit of a high-low thing going on. And also I'm going to do split side seams as well. So yeah, let's give it a go. So what you're going to need is a sewing machine, your shirt, a ruler of some kind, a pair of sharp scissors, an unpicker, some pins, some tailor's chalk in a colour that's going to show up on your shirt, and also some thread that matches. So the first step is to try the shirt on, and just ideally with some trousers that you're going to wear it with, and just figure out whereabouts you want the length of the shirt to be. So I'm kind of feeling for the waistband of my trousers, and I'm going to go for the front hem being just a little bit longer than the waistband of my trousers. So, and then I think for the back, I'm just going to estimate and go for 7 centimetres longer at the back. And I'm just going to mark it with a pin where I want to cut. So it's definitely worth taking your time with this step and making sure that you've got that mark exactly where you want it, because once we've cut it, there is no going back. That's going to be the finished length, that's where my pin is. I'm just going to add 3 centimetres onto that for hemming. So just going to mark that there. And then just draw a straight line all the way across. So yeah, that's the side seam running down, and I'm just bringing the line right up to there. And then at the back, I said I was going to make my shirt 7 centimetres longer than that. So I'm just going to measure 7 centimetres and then mark that line all the way across to mark the back hem of the shirt. So this is the scary bit. Now we can just cut. Just make sure when you're doing this that you definitely aren't going through to the layer underneath. So cut all the way around and go through the side seam. And then you can come back up here. So this is the side seam here, and what we want to do is mark how high we want the split to be in the side seam. So I would like it to be 10 centimetres, I've decided. So just kind of purely looked at the ruler and thought, yeah, that looks okay. So from the point at which the two seams are together, just mark the length of your split. We can always change this later on if we want to, but for now, that's what we're going to mark it as. And then the same on the other side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to unpick this side seam up to where we made that mark, which is going to be where the side seam split starts. So it's 2 rows of stitching all the way down, so it's a flat felled seam, so it's a little bit of unpicking, but just stick with it. And if you just take out 1 stitch every couple of centimetres or so, you should find that you'll then be able to pull all the loose threads out. So now we have the front looking like this, and then the longer back hem like this. So as you can see, there's just a little bit of extra fabric which has come from the front of the shirt, which is still attached here. So I'm just going to carry on unpicking that bit all the way off there till we've got it looking like this all the way along. So this is now what we're left with. We've got our longer hem here and our shorter one there, and we've picked right the way up to the blue mark. So now all you need to do is repeat exactly the same thing on the other side of the shirt. So there's just a little bit more unpicking that we need to do. So for my shirt, I'm going to remove the collar piece and just have this on my finished shirt. So what we're going to need to do is unpick this row of stitching here, which is a top stitch, and then once you've removed that, you should then be able to get to the stitching, another row of stitches just there, which is attaching attaching the collar to the collar stand. So unpick both of those all the way around and we will remove the collar. The next step is going to be to stitch, so that at the moment this is just open. So what we're going to do is just stitch all the way around the collar like that, just to finish our collar off again. So just remove all of these loose threads because we don't want any of those sticking out. So there's no need to really press anything, it's all kind of already in place. So just put a few pins all the way around. And then that's ready for sewing. So now I've come over to the sewing machine. I've just done a row of stitching next to the original stitches just to check I've got quite a good match. So what I've done here is I've gone for a straight stitch and it's a stitch length of about 2 1/4. And just make sure to do back tack at the beginning and end just to secure your stitches. And you can kind of see where the original stitches went, so I'm just trying to copy that. So that's our collar attached. Next is the side seams. So the next thing that we're going to do is hem both sides of the split. So what I've done is at the point where the split is going to start, just made a little snip into the seam allowance, and I'm going to snip it through just by the amount that we're going to fold. So for this we're going to do a double fold hem. So the first fold is going to be, I'm just going to do this by eye, but it's a few millimeters, so then the second fold will be the same. And as you can see, that split just allows you to fold it over a second time. So pin that all the way along. And then with this one, the fold is this way, but what we're going to do is make it go back the other way. So fold it back on itself. Again, I'm eyeballing this, but as you can see on here, the hem goes a little bit wider, so I'm actually just going to snip that off, and then I'm going to fold over once and then again, and then I'm going to pin that into place. So now we've got our side seams pinned, the next thing is to stitch them. So the first thing I'm going to do is stitch down the short hem, and then I will stitch down the long one. So for the long one, I'm going to start where that stitching finished and come all the way down here, and then for the second row of stitching I'm just going to start where the stitching left off, come down to the mark where our split is going to start, and I'm going to go across and to meet that line of stitching that I've just done. Just make sure that where the needle is definitely going to go through all the layers of your fabric. When you get to the point where the split starts, we just want to taper that in to join the original stitch line. So I'm just lifting the presser foot up and pivoting the fabric around the needle, and now I'm just going to sew straight across for the seam allowance. So what we're going to do now is hem the bottom of the shirt. So when we started out, we left an extra 3 centimetres at the bottom to do this. So what we're going to do is do one fold of 1 centimetre, and this is working with the shirt inside out, so we're working on the wrong side of the fabric at the moment. Do the first fold of 1 centimetre, and then the second fold will be 2 centimetres. So just fold that over, press with the iron, and do that all the way on both the back and the front of the shirt. So before you go and sew anything, just do up the last couple of buttons on the shirt just to check that where you've pinned the front hem, you want these two pieces to match. And once you've done that, all you need to do is just stitch across with a straight stitch. So again, with this one, we're going to make sure when you're lining it up under the machine, just make sure that the machine is going to catch down all of the layers, and you can, with this, you can kind of feel it through the fabric. And when you get to this end, just make sure that that little raw edge is just tucked in a little bit there. You can also snip off that corner if you want, just to make sure that it's hidden inside. So here's my finished shirt. I can definitely see myself getting so much more wear out of this now that it goes with other things in my wardrobe. I hope that you're inspired to go through your wardrobe as well and have a bit of a look at what could, just with a few simple tweaks, be brought back into daily use.